Welcome to the Echo Dubai Festival podcast series. Today we are speaking to Carmen Ardino. Carmen works with MICE International and she is their project events manager. Carmen's also specifically working on the Echo Dubai Festival. Carmen, tell us a little bit about your background and what you do with MICE.
Hi everybody, thank you Megan for having me here.
Thank you so much for joining us on the series.
Thanks. So I joined MICE International 4 months ago as an event manager, and I was appointed to work on Echo Dubai as a project manager. I've previously worked in PR as well for 3 years in Dubai. I used to work in communication as well in my when I was living in Rome. I'm Italian, by the way. So as I said, I work for Echo, overseeing the entire planning and execution of the plan from A to Z. Mostly coordinating among the team who are working on the project. So PR, marketing, exhibitors, sponsors, and logistic.
So really driving everything forward.
Yeah, yeah, that's very hectic. Yes.
All right. So today we're going to talk a bit about some themes that are really close to your heart, things you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Science fiction and artificial intelligence. And I was doing a bit of research, and according to a recent article in Wine magazine, the journalist argues that what was once just a figment of the imagination of some of our most famous science fiction writers, artificial intelligence is taking the root now in our everyday lives. I guess we're still a few years away from having robots at our beck and call, but it seems AI has already had a profound effect in more subtle ways. Yeah. I think people probably don't realize this, but it's used in weather forecasts, email spam filtering, Google search predictions, and even voice recognition, such as Siri.
Yeah.
And I think it's also quite clear that while there's going to be a lot of growing pains as it evolves, AI is definitely going to have an incredibly positive effect on society. So today we're going to talk about AI, and we're going to talk about it through the lens of science fiction, because these days it's actually closer to non-fiction than fiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a bit about your interest in AI and sci-fi.
I've always been passionate at cinema and fiction in general. As you say, that's something that has just heavily influenced my entire life, from choice of studies to work environment and eventually my personal hobbies. So I was taking classes of acting and directing and editing when I was living in Rome, and then when I moved here and I started working, having less time to actually focus on these fields actively, I just sort of ended up watching a lot of movies, going to the movies every weekend, so reading a lot about it, analyzing the structure of movies, so I'm so much into it. The technology and sci part, I think it's just something that I'm interested in because I'm sort of fascinated by psychology, and that's and as a consequence human behaviors in general and how they get impacted by the daily life and technology, and the way technology is basically affecting our habits and our way of communicating communicating and feeling things and experiencing things, which is what Echo is all about eventually. So when I joined the project, I had to do a lot of research, obviously a lot of research about the speakers to be approached and the subjects they would have spoken about, and the projects they are actually developing or working on. And I was at the same time going through this TV series, Black Mirror, which is a definitely well-known British science fiction created by Charlie Brooker. And I realized that basically all the topics beautifully portrayed in the series were in Echo. So I was super excited, to go through all of them and try to understand more and figure out.
So the same topics that you guys are going to explore at the Echo Festival?
Yeah, for example, one of our speaker, Tina Goryang, has basically, she's a fashion designer, and she has realized an entire collection of clothes, of fabrics made out of human cells and human DNA.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely weird and creepy, but that's true. So basically, she has proposed this project whereby the team has extracted the genetic material of the late fashion designer Alexander McQueen.
Wow.
So basically from her DNA, and implemented this DNA into a cell culture. The material has been processed and transformed into skin tissue. So that's how she has basically got to realize this entire collection of fabrics, which is, I mean, beautiful, but also
just
weird.
Different.
Different, yeah, exactly. So I was obviously absolutely impressed, and that led me to think of how this could actually impact on society in a positive or in a negative way. We had a lot of discussion internally about this project and other projects that would be presented at ECO, and we came up with the idea of having a section which is called Society Simulation, which is all about what if. So what will happen if this project, this invention will be actually implemented in real life, and how it can change people's life in terms also of economic and politics and new policies.
Yeah.
So rules and regulation to be implemented. So
it's really a fascinating thing to think about.
It is. It's just amazing, and it opens to many different scenarios. For example, in this case, the good outcome, it could be having clothes made out of animals' skin without actually killing animals. On another hand, and this leads me again to science fiction, what if one day in a near future, companies would be able to actually realize artificial bodies in this way, by applying this technique? And what if they would be able to actually implement into this artificial body a sort of made out personality made out of social media collected data, which they will be the result of people's activity on social media
online, because they pick up everything about us online, don't they?
Exactly, through emails, through your communication, through whatever, Facebook, Instagram. We're all addicted to
pretty scary scenario.
Yeah, actually. Exactly. So it's controversial. The ethical side of it, it's pretty much controversial, and there is a lot of argument about it. As I mentioned before, in Black Mirror, there's this beautiful episode which is called Be Right Back, where basically the love dream of a couple gets broken when the guy is killed in a car accident, and she's completely incapable to get over this loss and to deal with the grief. So she basically referred to a company that produces artificial intelligence to sort of replace deceased people. Wow. And so she sort of gets her husband back, but it's obviously a machine. So after a few months of interaction, things just go a bit wrong.
Goes downhill.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, eventually she just realizes that the machine will never be able to replace the man because the soul is just not there.
Yeah.
So this is something to
interesting subject matter.
Yeah,
to go into.
It's also sad somehow.
Yeah.
It's about how technologies would be affecting people's life and emotions, like grief, for example.
Yeah. Wow, deep subjects.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. I mean, so, that's looking a lot into the future and what might be and what might come. I mean, on a personal note, which period in history would you prefer to live through? Are you dying to be in the year sort of 2060 or 1000? Or is there a period in the past that you're really passionate about?
Not really. I'm not really that keen to live in the future, to be honest. I think it's scary, and I think I'm a sort of old school lover, so I would rather go back to the past, maybe to the 60s, because it was a very interesting era, of course, full of revolutionary ideas and concepts and movements.
Yeah.
Especially in arts and music. But if I have to think of a future where I could picture myself in, I don't know, I probably, because of my passion for movies, again, I would think of the Fifth Element sort of scenario, where with cars flying and with the instant makeup applicators.
Oh, that would be the dream.
Yeah, for all of us, that would make our life so easy. Definitely, I would like to live in a future where the advancement of genetic-based medicinal data could actually help sort of predict diseases and in this way be able to sort them out. So, but again, as we were saying before, this could have some kind of
could have a every effect has another effect. I mean, maybe do you think people are meant to live forever?
Oh my God. This leads me to think of another episode of Black Mirror. Yeah, where basically there is a company that develops a sort of software that allows people to live after death, but it's a sort of artificial life, so it's not the real you. It's basically just your brain, your brain, which is implemented in a sort of chip, which is saved somewhere.
Isn't that a bit like that movie with Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz?
Vanilla Sky.
Yes,
living in the dream.
See, it always comes back to some of these forward-thinking directors who, could be.
I love that movie. Yeah, it's sort of the same. Would you go for that?
I don't know. I think that there is a circle of life. This also goes into all these other sort of concepts of reincarnation and life after death. It's tricky, and everybody sort of believes their own thing, whatever it is that they want to believe.
Yeah.
But who knows? I think the best thing we can do is have a dialogue on it and talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree about the circle of life. I think that certain experiences and feelings and emotions in life matter, because we know that this is our circle of life and it's gonna end at some point. So it would be completely probably meaningless the other way around.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah.
All right. So in doing some research about the sci-fi theme and the AI theme, so I read recently that a Japanese venture capital firm is the first company in history to nominate an AI board member. And they did this because of its ability to predict market trends faster than humans. I mean, trust the Japanese to be ahead of the curve. So what do you think about that? Having a robot on the board?
I mean, again, that's a bit scary, although we're still far from having robots working among us, even though, they've been talking a lot about having robots in healthcare, for example. But I think, it's happening, and somehow it's definitely, it has definitely good sides and good outcomes in terms of improving people's life, especially when it's applied into certain kind of fields like finance. I don't know, like even in our field, in advertising and PR and market research, there are already to advanced tools that allow us to make sort of predictions and foresee what's gonna happen.
See what the trends are, yeah.
Exactly, and maximize performances and make the productivity higher and improve efficiency on the workplace. So in this way, I mean, I'm okay with that. On another hand, if we think of scenarios whereby robots are going to actually employ people, well, I don't see this happening, or I hope that this is not going to happen. Again, for the reason that we were just discussing a few minutes ago, I don't see a robot ever replacing a human being.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that if you look at some of the new job titles we have these days, like social media manager or community manager or digital marketer, these jobs didn't exist a few years ago.
Exactly.
And they haven't actually replaced anyone. They're new types of roles.
Yeah.
So you sort of find a way to create a new type of role, and I think that that's going to be what happens, is that we're going to be working alongside artificial intelligence in whatever shape or form it comes
in.
Because ultimately you can't ever manufacture intuition or gut instincts or these soulful decisions that someone makes. So you're always going to need the human element to guide
exactly the also because I mean eventually the goal of AI is to learn and develop from, again, collected data that belongs to humans.
Yeah.
So it can never be the other way around.
Yeah.
Unless robots will find a way to interpret and filter humans' data, and I don't see this possible.
Yeah, it's such a quantum leap.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting to hear your take on it. So I guess, what does that mean if in the future a robot became your boss?
How
would you feel about that?
It depends on the robot, on the type of robot. If he's looking like Jude Law in AI, then I'm gonna take it.
Are you in?
Back to being serious. Well, again, I wouldn't take it. But again, if that would happen, it means that I would live in a world where this is just considered as a normal thing and as conventional. So I think I would be just okay with that, because I would be part of a certain society.
It would be the new normal. Yeah. All right. I mean, so that's really interesting. I don't know, it begs the question, do you think that maybe one day robots will have needs and desires like humans?
I don't think so, and I really, again, hope that won't happen. I can't imagine nowadays a way to make this happen, but if it will ever happen, then I think we'll be living in a very scary world, whereby people will have to interact with robots with the same feelings of humans, which means that they might develop affection and maybe love for a machine.
Well, look at, that movie with Will Smith.
Yes.
AI, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That robot started to develop feelings. And
exactly.
Technically, robots should be learning from our data, so they would start to mimic us. So it might not be real, but they might think it's real. It's all these different
exactly, this layers. Is a very good point. It's about, it's not real, but the robot thinks it's real.
Yeah.
And because we as a human, exactly, we have this empathy and this tendency to connect automatically with one another, we will definitely be able to connect with the machine.
Especially if it is showing you a human way of kindness and empathy and that sort of thing. Naturally, the human's going to respond in the same way.
Yes,
which would be very clever on the robots.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it reminds me of a movie, the Spike Jonze Her story with Joaquin Phoenix, where he's basically a lonely man with nothing left and he's heartbroken, and he gets into this sort of relationship with a phone machine, which is basically a software created specifically with this purpose to sort of entertain single who don't have like a kind of company and lover to talk to.
So it preys on lonely people.
Yes, which is again about playing with people and humans' feeling and emotions.
Our hope, I think it's hope that separates us mostly, because we hope that it's real and we hope that they understand us.
And if you think about it, it's already happening somehow through social media. Because think of all these dating apps, for example.
Yeah. Because you're not actually interacting with a lot of those people. You're sort of just living in a virtual reality world.
Exactly.
Almost. You feel like you know them, and you can see someone on the streets. Like influencers, right? We see them all, and we know their whole lives, and we see them and go, oh, I know all about you. How's your baby? How's your wedding?
Yes.
And, you've never met the person.
Exactly. It's about feeling close to something that actually, it's not real.
It's not
real. It looks like, but it's not.
It's not.
So
that's going to be something that's going to be very interesting to watch in the future, how that evolves. Well, Carmen, thank you so much. I think we've explored some really, really interesting topics today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And we're so looking forward to Eco Dubai.
Yeah, absolutely. Please come visit Eco Dubai and have a look at our website, ecodubai.com, for more information and book your ticket. And I expect all of you there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.